What does it mean to be a good person? Is it simply avoiding bad deeds? Is it telling the truth? We're taught that honesty is the best policy, but what if honesty is just the bare minimum? What if true goodness is something else entirely? A quiet, fierce choice made when no one is watching. Today we're not talking about saints or superheroes. We're going to tell you the stories of ordinary people who chose to do the extraordinary. These are the moments that define a human being, and they might just make you weep. True goodness starts with empathy, the ability to feel another's pain, and compassion, the courage to act on it. It's the whisper that tells us to reach out, even when it's inconvenient. Story 1. The bus driver's heart. A young man, barely 18, gets on the bus. He's carrying a backpack and his face is a mask of despair. The bus driver, a tired man named James, glances at him through the rearview mirror and sees tears silently streaming down his cheeks. James doesn't ask what's wrong. He doesn't make a scene. At the next stop, he pulls the bus over and steps out, briefly blocking the door. He walks back to the young man, hands him a bottle of water and a granola bar from his bag and whispers, "Whatever it is, son, you can get through this, just breathe." The young man later recounted that moment, saying it wasn't the food but the simple, unasked-for kindness from a stranger that gave him the strength to face his day. Story 2. The janitor's generosity. In a cold, glass office tower, a young executive is working late, hunched over her desk, sobbing. She's just been given a devastating medical diagnosis. A janitor, an elderly man who speaks little English, quietly mops the floors. He sees her pain, but he doesn't know what to say. The next morning, when she arrives at her desk, she finds a small thermos of hot spiced tea and a bag of warm cookies with a small handwritten note that simply says, "For your troubles." She never found out who it was, but that act of profound, silent empathy brought a broken woman back to the world. Story 3. The homeless man's last photo. A man named Sam finds a worn, tattered wallet on a street in Los Angeles. Inside is a $1 bill and a faded, torn photograph of a woman and a young boy. Sam sees the man who lost it, a homeless man digging through a trash can. Sam could have kept the dollar, but he felt a pull to return the wallet. The homeless man looks at the photo and weeps. "That photo is all I have left of my family," he says, his voice breaking. Sam doesn't stop there. He hands the man the dollar, then takes out his own wallet and gives him another $20 for a bus ticket to see his son. The homeless man had lost his wallet, but he had not lost his dignity, and Sam chose to honor that. Story 4. The nurse who sang. A patient in the ICU is in her final hours. She is surrounded by tubes and machines. The medical team has done all they can. The family has left for the night. As the nurse, a young woman named Sarah, is checking the patient's vitals, she whispers, "I'm going to sing you a song now." She had no training, but she had a kind heart. She sits by the bed and sings a soft lullaby she learned as a child. She sings until the patient's breathing slows, and then finally stops. The family later calls the hospital and asks about the song. They said their mother passed away with a serene smile on her face. The nurse had chosen to give her patient a final, loving human connection in her last moments. True goodness also manifests as profound integrity, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, and selflessness, the choice to act for others, even at a personal cost. These are the choices that require courage and a sense of responsibility beyond what is required. Story 5. The mechanic who refused. A young single mother brings her old car to a mechanic, terrified she won't be able to afford the repairs. The mechanic, a gruff but honest man named Frank, inspects it. He sees a minor issue he could easily inflate into a major, costly repair. He could have made an extra $1,000. Instead, he fixes the real problem, which takes him 10 minutes, and charges her only $25 for his time. When she tearfully thanks him, saying she can't afford anything else, he simply says, "It wasn't a big deal, the car's fine now. Be safe." He chose to honor his conscience over his wallet. Story 6. The subway hero. A train pulls into a station in New York City. A man falls off the platform, landing on the tracks in the path of the oncoming train. In a moment of pure, raw instinct, a stranger on the platform jumps down without hesitation. He doesn't think about his own safety. He shoves the man into a small crevice beneath the platform edge just as the train roars over them. The stranger later said he didn't feel like a hero. He just knew he had to act. That is courage. Story 7. The waiter who paid. An elderly couple, dining on a special anniversary, finishes their meal. When the waiter brings the check, he notices a small, worn piece of paper on the table. It's an old photograph of the couple, maybe from their wedding day. The waiter sees the love and history between them. He takes the check back to the kitchen, tears it up, and comes back with a small note on a plate. The note reads, "Your dinner has been paid for. Thank you for showing me what true love looks like." Story 8, The Teacher and the Bully. A middle school teacher notices a young boy, a known bully, crying alone after school. Instead of punishing him or ignoring him, she sits next to him and asks what's wrong. The boy, shocked, confesses that he's being abused at home. The teacher, going beyond her role, not only reports the abuse but stays with the boy until he's safe. Her act of responsibility and empathy not only helped a child in need, but also broke a cycle of violence. Story 9, The Soldier's Choice. During a fierce battle, a soldier is about to fire a rocket launcher at an enemy position. Just before he pulls the trigger, he sees a little girl running towards the target. He had orders to fire, but he chooses not to. His superiors threaten to court-martial him. He calmly says, "My duty is to protect, not to kill innocents." That choice, in a moment of life and death, defined his character. Story 10, The Last Offering. A homeless person is begging for change on a cold night. A young man, shivering, approaches. He has no money, but he has a small, half-eaten sandwich and a bottle of water. He looks at the homeless person, sees their struggle, and without a second thought, gives them the food and water. The homeless person, in turn, thanks him and gives him the only thing he has, a faded photograph of his mother. It was an exchange of profound human kindness and empathy, with no money involved. At the end of our lives, our stories won't be about our wealth, our titles, or our status. They will be about the quiet moments, the choices we made when no one was watching. They will be about how we treated others. My advice: stop judging people by their labels. A person's true character isn't defined by their faith or their lack of it. It's defined by their integrity, their selflessness, and their compassion. It's defined by whether they use their power to serve or to exploit. Final question. The war isn't between believers and non-believers. The real war is between kindness and cruelty. The question is, which side are you on?